Hello, students. In the second part of Why Do We Fall Ill, we are going to discuss about two things, that is, communicable disease, or we can also call it as infectious disease, and the second one is non communicable disease, and we can also call it as non-infectious disease. What is the major difference between communicable and non-communicable? As the word says communicable, communicable means what we contact from one to another. As the present best example is that of coronavirus. You don't catch it from anywhere else. It is spread from one person to another. So when a disease is spread from one person to another, it is said to be communicable and infectious. Why infectious? Because it is causing harm to the other person. And when a disease like, say, typhoid, or you can say diseases like dysentery, when it is not spread from person to person, then it is said to be non communicable, or it is non infectious. Why non infectious? Because nobody is spreading it. Food poisoning, nobody is spreading it from one to another. If you sit next to a person who is having cough and cold, you are going to catch it. But if you sit next to a person who is having food poisoning, you are not going to catch it. So, when a disease spreads from one person to another, that is communicable, infectious, and when it is not spread from one person to another, that is non-communicable or non-infectious. Now, whatever is the case, there are few things how the diseases spread from one another. What are the few things? One is they can spread through air we breathe, they can spread through food we eat, they can spread through contact from one person to another. Then they can spread through vectors. Now, what are these vectors? Vectors are those insects, or we can say those animals which help in spreading a disease from one person to another. The best example is that of malaria, dengue, or chikungunya. We know that these diseases are caused by insect bite. So, if an insect bites a person who is suffering from malaria or whose body is having the protozoa of malaria, malarial parasite, and then goes and bites another healthy person, then this insect spreads the disease from one to another, from an infected person to a healthy person. So, since there is a mediator, mediator means one insect or organism which is helping to spread from one to another, then that is said to be a vector. So, air can be a reason for spread of diseases. Like I gave you the example of coronavirus, common cold. If a person sneezes in the air and whatever germs spread in the surrounding, if that is intake or inhaled by a healthy person, then the healthy person will also get the same disease. Another example of airborne disease is tuberculosis. If a person suffering from tuberculosis coughs or throws his sputum in the air and that a healthy person comes in contact, then definitely the other healthy person is going to catch it. Next comes food. Food is a major reason where diseases spread. How it spreads? It spreads when we have contaminated food. Sometimes food which is not properly cooked, that transfers diseases. The best example of food is that of your typhoid. Food, and actually food and water we study together. Even if water is contaminated, that also spreads diseases. Food and water, typhoid, jaundice, all these are food waterborne diseases. That means they spread from one place to another via the food intake or the water intake if they are contaminated. Third is contact. Contact of a person in physical proximity. That means when a healthy person comes in contact with an infected person, then there is a chance that the person contacts. That means body fluid due to blood transfusion or due to sexual contact. All these are the reasons of spread. Then fourth one is the vector. That is, an organism is involved in spreading the disease from one person to another. So whether it is a communicable disease, non-communicable disease, the reasons or how they spread are the four things. That is air, food, water, contact and vectors. Still, if this is creating some doubt in your mind, you can definitely write in the comment section and I'll get back to you. If you like my video, do subscribe, comment, share